As many of you know, Sam Wilson is a very iconic character in Marvel, especially in terms of the MCU, considering that he just got his first solo movie. But how do all his appearances in the different movies compare to each other? In this video, I'm going to be ranking all of Sam Wilson's appearances in different MCU movies, as well as the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. Share how you would rank all of his appearances in the comments section down below, and without any further ado, let's hop right into it. Coming in last place is his appearance in Avengers Infinity War, and to be perfectly clear, this is not at all a criticism of the movie. Infinity War is without a doubt one of the best Marvel movies ever, but the thing that makes this movie so special, the fact that it has all these different characters, is also why this is Sam Wilson's weakest appearance. Because when you have all these characters in the movie, it's kind of hard to put a lot of focus on a character like this, and so there's really not any line of dialogue he says or really much that he does in this movie that I even remember. Pretty much he's just with Captain America and that crew, and obviously he joins in the fight at the end, and he winds up being one of the characters that dies. But other than that, there's just really not anything too notable he does in this movie, because there's just so many other characters they had to give spotlight. Coming in at number 7 is his appearance in Avengers Age of Ultron. This is a movie that doesn't have near as many characters as Infinity War, but Sam Wilson is not one of the main characters in here. It still focuses on the original 6 Avengers. But there is a nice little moment when he's talking to Captain America, and at the very end of the film we know that he's joining the new Avengers. And so this is a movie where, while he only appeared briefly, it gave us some updates on what he was doing. Coming in at number 6 is his appearance in Ant-Man, and this was obviously just a cameo, but for what it is, it's a pretty fun sequence where basically Ant-Man just breaks into the Avengers property, and Sam's the one that just happens to be there. So there's just a nice little fight with him and Ant-Man. There's some funny moments.
It's really important to me that Cap never finds out about this.
And then of course he appears at the very end of the movie in one of Luis's stories, as well as a scene after the credits, although that was just a clip from Civil War. Speaking of which, coming in at number 5 is his appearance from Civil War. And Civil War might have been the biggest crossover in the MCU before Infinity War. So this is yet again another movie where Sam is not put front and center. But it's not like Infinity War where there's just so many characters he couldn't possibly do anything memorable. In this case, we actually get to see more of him being on Cap's side, which, by the way, I don't want to spark controversy, but Team Cap was better than Team Iron Man. But anyways, in terms of this appearance, it's actually very nice, where some of the stuff is actually set up by the encounter with him and Ant-Man in the Ant-Man movie. So while there's not a ton of spotlight on Sam Wilson here, there's enough where you get the idea where he's sticking on Captain America's side, and there's just some more memorable stuff he does here. Coming in at number 4 is his appearance in Avengers Endgame. And Avengers Endgame did a very good job of when all the characters that were dead came back, they all got their nice little moments, and that includes Sam Wilson. He's actually the first person that informs Captain America that they have all returned.
On your left.
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
And so that's just a super cool line of dialogue, a really cool scene. And then of course, obviously we know he's in the fight with all the other characters. And then at the very end of the movie, we get a nice little moment where Steve passes the shield on to him. Coming in at number 3 is his appearance in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and this was the first time where he just wasn't a side character, and the entire series was focused on him and Bucky. And so there's a ton of memorable stuff he does here, where at the beginning of the series he gives up the shield and then he later on realizes his mistake. And there was just a good dynamic with him and Bucky throughout the show, and a good transition of him going from the Falcon to the new Captain America. And just throughout the series there's a lot of hard stuff he goes through, but he continues to be a pretty good person. But even though this is a 6-episode series where he has the most screen time compared to everything else on the list, I can't really put it at number 1 because there is some of the stuff they do with some of his lines of dialogue where it's just not the best.
You've got to do better, Senator.
The writing in this show isn't necessarily great, so they didn't fully do him justice here. Coming in at number 2 is his appearance in The Winter Soldier, and this was his first appearance in the MCU, where it immediately establishes that this is someone that Steve Rogers can trust. And when you compare it to the other movies where he's not the main character, this does the best job of him being a side character but not being the main character. And so this was just a great introduction to him. There was a good build-up of him with his wings, and he definitely helps a lot with the final battle. But coming in at number 1 is his appearance in Brave New World, the newest movie. And this is basically a better version of what they were doing in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, where it's already established here that he is the new Captain America. And so there's just a lot of cool stuff he does where we get to see him in action more. And of course there's some hard decisions he has to make throughout the movie, especially especially considering that he never had the super soldier serum, and so he's just very interesting and compelling in this movie, and the dynamic with him and some of the side characters is just done very well. But overall, that was my ranking of all of Sam Wilson's appearances in the MCU. Again, share how you would rank them in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.